In this example, we're going to use complementary and supplementary angles to determine angle measures. So for letter A here, it's read as if angle MAD and angle FAD are complementary angles, and the measure of angle MAD is equal to 14 degrees, determine the measure of angle FAD. So before we get started, let's look at a couple of things here. First thing is these are complementary angles. And of course, what complementary angles mean is that if I add the measure of angle MAD to the measure of angle FAD, they should come out to be 90 degrees. Another thing is they both share a common vertex. You could see it here as A. And keep in mind that whenever we describe an angle using 3 points or 3 letters, such as angle MAD, the vertex always has to be the middle letter. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a quick sketch that represents the scenario here. And you should do the same. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something that will help you along and lend a little bit of clarity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my 90-degree angle here. And a 90-degree angle is identified by this square at the angle here. So now here is our vertex. Here is A. That's what they have in common. Now I'm going to put in my other angle. So then I can mark this angle here as M, A, and then D. And then up here I'll put in point F. So here is our angle F, A, D. And you can see that the vertex for both of them is A. Now for this angle here, this is 14 degrees, as it states in the problem. And what we need to do is we need to find this one here. Now we could probably determine what that angle measure is through some casual observation, but we're certainly going to do it algebraically. And what does that mean? That means that when we add the measure of angle MAD to the measure of angle FAD, it should come out to be 90 degrees. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. The measure of angle MAD, add that to the measure of angle FAD, and that should equal to 90 degrees. We already know that the measure of MAD is 14 degrees, so we'll put that in. Add that to the measure of angle FAD, and that should equal 90 degrees. Now we'll use some basic algebra to go ahead and solve. So I'll subtract out the 14 degrees from either side here. (14 degrees minus 14 degrees, these two will cancel each other. 90 degrees minus 14 degrees, that's 76 degrees. So here we have the measure of angle FAD is equal to 76 degrees. And that seems to make sense because 76 degrees plus 14 degrees gives us our 90-degree angle. The same occurs for letter B. You can see that we have if angle TIP and angle SIP are supplementary angles and the measure of angle SIP is 103 degrees, determine the measure of angle TIP. Now, of course, these are supplementary angles, and what does that mean? Well, that means when we add the measures of these two angles together, it should come out to be 180 degrees. And also, they have a common vertex here, which is I. So again, I'm going to go ahead and make a graphic of this. And again, you should too. So I'm going to put in my 180-degree angle, which is a straight angle. Then I'm going to put in another angle here. And here is my common vertex of I. So then this angle, I'll label as T, I, and then P up here. And then I'll put S down here, and here is my angle SIP. Now it says that SIP, that's 103 degrees, so we'll go ahead and we'll label this as 103. And of course, this is the angle measure that we need to find. And again, through some casual observation, we could probably determine in our head what this measure would be But again, we're going to do it algebraically. So the measure of angle TIP plus the measure of angle SIP, that's equal to 180 degrees. And it's probably a good habit that you write everything out like this. Until you get really good at it, you should go ahead and you should write everything out. It keeps it nice and structured and allows us to see what's going on. So we know that SIP is 103 degrees. So I'm going to put that in. So now the measure of angle TIP plus the measure of 103 degrees, that's equal to 180 degrees. Again, we're going to use some basic algebra to help solve. So I'm going to subtract out the 103 degrees from here and subtract it from this side. 103 degrees minus 103 degrees, these are going to cancel. 180 degrees minus 103 degrees, that's 77 degrees. So the measure of angle TIP, that is equal to 77 degrees. And again, that seems to make sense because 77 degrees plus 103 degrees equals 180 degrees.